Hey everyone, so this is my first YouTube video I've ever done here. Decided to make it a magic one, and a lot of people have been asking me to kind of share my budget deck tech for mono white soldiers. Now, with it, there's a lot of different ways to kind of build this deck here. I'll put the link in the description below for the actual deck itself on Card Kingdom there. And, with it, it's actually pretty inexpensive there. I'm going to be missing one play set on this deck here that I'm going to be showing you today, just because I let a friend borrow it there. But whenever it goes through, I do want to kind of let you know that it's going to be fairly cheap, and I believe it's under 10 bucks to build this deck. Now, with it, the theme is going to be mono white soldiers, so the whole plan is to get a ton of different soldiers on the battlefield. And guess what? Every creature that I'm playing in this deck is a soldier. One, it's got a little bit of it's playing with the theme, but also it's looking at also playing just a ton of tokens. Hence why I've got these soldier cards right here. Now, with it, it's going to go through and you're going to be putting a lot of guys out early and as fast as you can. Most of the curve is 1 drops, 2 drops, and 3 drops, and then you have a couple of turns where you can play them together and things along those lines, and of course I have some 6-drop slots. So as far as the curve goes, not too bad. First thing I'll start with, of course, is you're going to want to have a lot of soldier tokens, in my opinion. I currently have 8 right now, right here. I use these for other decks as well, too, but I always recommend probably having 4 to 6 of these things, depending on how you use tokens when you're playing the game, because guess what? You're going to be putting a lot of them out on the battlefield there, and if you like to have individual tokens for each of them, just expect that to happen. Our mana base is going to be fairly cheap, only playing 20 lands in here. Since we're doing that, they're all going to be basic plains. So with it, you can pretty much pick these up. People will just give them to you for free usually, or you can find a store that'll go through. I wouldn't say add this to the cost of the deck or anything along those lines there. I know a lot of sites do, but this is going to be the way to go as far as just making sure that it stays budget and is fairly easy for new people to use. Great card, Elite Vanguard. So, just like Savannah Lions, it's a 2-1 for 1, except for this guy, he's a common level here, he's pretty cheap, but he's actually a soldier. So that's what we're looking for the synergy of the deck here as we get to the later cards in the mana curve. That's something we want to look at. The other way is that, he's a cheap soldier to get on the battlefield, and heck, you can play a lot of these guys from your hand if you got him, when you know you're ready to go strike. The other card here is Raise the Alarm. So, this card I've been playing with since I started playing Magic here, and I really do love it. It's got a soft spot for my heart here. Put 2/1/1 white soldier creature tokens in the battlefield, just giving you a little bit of that go wide strategy with it there. The nice part is because it's common, it's cheaper, and because it's an instant, you can actually play it on your opponent's turns, so that way if you're going through and you're setting up your board state with Elite Vanguard, or setting up with some of your other ones, or the Iketon Javeliers, those are the ones I'm missing here. You can go through and play this on your opponent's instep, and then go for your win con, go for the go wide strategy, and just swing in with a bunch of creatures. The other 1-drop slot here is Brave the Elements. So this is fantastic for this deck because I'm playing mono white. And really any deck that's playing majority of white can play this one if you're doing the go wide strategy or playing a lot of different creatures, because with it, it kind of gives you a pseudo hex proof or like a counter spell, because if your opponents target your creature, you can play this at instant speed there, and it gives all of your white creatures protection from the chosen color, meaning that they can't be targeted or dealt damage or enchanted or anything by those colors there. And it comes in useful when you're playing against Burn, and of course it comes in useful whenever you're trying to protect your lords that are in this deck here. Not to mention you can play this thing, and since they can't be blocked either, they can go through and they can actually just swing in with all of your creatures with a giant pump effect, and your opponents can't do anything to stop that. The last 1-drop slot outside of the Iketon Javeliers, which isn't here in this deck tech video, but it is in my tapped out link, is Sunlance. So Sunlance allows you to go through and it deals 3 damage to a target non-white creature. So for me, I think this is the white lightning bolts of the format there. It's a very cheap card. There's a lot of downsides to this card, to be honest with you. If I was going to go through, I was choosing between this one or Oppressive Raise. I would honestly choose Oppressive Raise to kind of keep with it there. The nice thing with Sunlance, though, is that it's a one-time sorcery effect, which can be helpful. I'll mention that here in a little bit, here why it is. And it goes through and you just pretty much bolt a creature for 3. The downsides, of course, it's a sorcery speed, so you can't play it on your opponent's turn. It's also it has to be a non-white creature. So that's the couple of downsides you have with it there. That's why I would play Oppressive Raise over this one, but this is a really nice budget way to play it there. And yeah, the other decks that I have in the set there, it's kind of like a dual deck style, except with three different decks and a kind of a horde deck there, just for newer players to play with, is the fact that this is the only white deck in that box. So with this, it's going to hit it 100% of the time. Moving on to 2 drops here, I got Celestial Flare. Now, Celestial Flare is nice because it goes through and target player sacrifices attacking a blocking creature. So when you're teaching people how to play at instant speed, this feels really good as far as getting to play this. Yes, it's 2 white, but that's not going to be a problem for this deck. So with the 2 mana here, anytime your opponents are swinging in with something big or they're deciding to block one of your creatures there, you get to go ahead and kind of get rid of their creature off the board there, and it's super nice. And it makes it so that your opponents don't really want to attack into you when they see 2 mana open. The next section here, I've got my 2 sections of 3 drops. So hopefully you've been playing enough creatures and stuff to get them on the board and you can start attacking. Ethereal Guidance is one of these sorcery speed pumps. It's kind of like a temporary anthem for your creatures there. I chose this one and the other one because they're both 3 drops, and for the fact that, you know, they work out pretty well. And I'm not trying to do too many instant stuff here. I mean, yeah, that would be the upgrade to the deck. I would put like Inspired Charge or something in here. Even though that's a 4 drop, it's still instant speed, letting you kind of pump your creatures up 2/1. But this one, you play it on your turn before your attack phase, give your creatures +2/+1. So if you're going through and you're playing on curve, perfect here. Play Elite Vanguard, you got a 2/1. Play Raise the Alarm. Now you've got 3 creatures in the battlefield there. Play Ethereal Guidance, and now you have, you know, a 4/2 and then 2 3/3s. That's a lot of damage coming at them on turn 3. Especially 1 if they don't have a board state, or 2 if they have no desire to block you. The next card, very similar to it there, is Kythian's Tactics. Now this one is kind of a little bit better than Ethereal Guidance, just for the simple fact that it has Spell Mastery on there. This is where it comes into play while you want to play the instants and sorceries in the deck over playing something like Oppressive Rage, which is an enchantment. When it goes through, it does the same thing as Ethereal Guidance, is sorcery speed +2/+1 to your creatures. And then if there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in the graveyard, they also get Vigilance. So 1, you swing with your creatures, they're not having to tap, so the next turn they can actually block, or you can just chump block your opponents, so that way they can't really retaliate your big swing there. Next section here is actually going over our different lords for the deck. So I've got 3 of each here. I've got our Veteran Armorsmith. This guy's nice because he's a 2-drop, so he's still kind of on curve a little bit. Other soldier creatures you control get +0/+1, so gives them fatter butts so they can block a little bit better there. It's kind of nice whenever you're going against opponents that have weaker stuff there, but this guy really comes into play as far as if you're going through and trying to pump up your other creatures there. So for 2, it's a 2/3. And then up here is Veteran Swordsmith. This is the other lord. This one's a 3-drop there. And this one I actually prefer over the Armorsmith itself, for the simple fact that you're playing an aggro deck here, you're being aggressive, and you're trying to go after your opponent's creatures and life total. So with it, you're going to be swinging in on other soldier creatures, get extra attack. So with it, you're playing cheap value creatures. By giving them extra attack, your opponent's going to be less likely to block them, because it only takes 1 toughness to kill your creatures, pretty much. By giving it an extra little boost there, they're going to be less likely to say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and trade, you know, my creature with a, you know, 3 toughness to your Elite Vanguard that now has a 3/1. Super nice on that one, and I definitely recommend playing Veteran Swordsmith. If you're going to switch things around, I'd play 4 Swordsmith and just 2 Armorsmith, but I kind of like the 3 and 3. That way you have the consistency in the deck, and you go through and they're both on the battlefield. That they just make each other 3/3s, so it's not too bad there. And then finally, the big bomb of the deck there, this is really what I designed the deck around, Captain of the Watch. Now, this is the 6-drop. This is the whole reason why you're playing a lot of lands on the battlefield. So the nice thing with Captain of the Watch, it does multiple things your deck wants to do. It is a token deck that's playing a lot of soldier tokens. So with it, this is a 3/3 creature that has Vigilance. Other soldiers you have get +1/+1 and have Vigilance. That means that it goes through and makes all your tiny little soldiers there a little bit stronger and makes it so they can attack and block. When Captain of the Watch enters the battlefield, you also get to put 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens on the battlefield. Hence why I told you, hey, you're going to have a lot of tokens available to you, because if you're playing multiple Raise the Alarms and a Captain of the Watch there, your soldier tokens are going to get kind of out of hand. And so whenever you're playing this one, you want to drop this, and then you probably want to drop off the Ethereal Guidance or Kythian's Tactics there. So with it, it's a little bit slower because you have to wait till turn 6 to play this thing, but with it, the early curve of the deck there is what can help you win the game. And this is kind of one of those things that says, hey, let's seal this thing off, let's win this thing. So pair this up with Brave the Elements, and you got yourself a nice little swing and attack there. You've got pretty much 9 damage coming at your opponents, you know, Vigilance if you're playing this, and then Brave the Elements afterwards. So, hey, I hope you guys really enjoyed this deck tech around my noob mono white soldiers deck. So if you like it, go ahead and check out the tapped out subscription down there. It goes through and kind of shows everything for you, and then you feel free to like it, and you can subscribe if you want to check it out too. I'm going to try and do more of these budget deck tech videos there. As I kind of go on, I'm going to work on trying to get a camera instead of having to do this by hand and phone. So anyway, you guys have a good one. Talk to you later.